Hey everybody, Danny here, Soccer Expansion Project. Just wanted to give a quick chat about a couple of questions that came my way regarding the WM. So, coaching colleague of mine, he's in Chicago now, working at the high school level and also club level. Asked that he might be facing a team that's playing the 3-4-3 box, and one of the attacking centre mids might be very good. So any ideas to counteract that? So I thought it'd be a good challenge just to sort of go through some things. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the 3-4-3 box / WM. It's something that we've been working with the right personnel. But it's been fun. It's that 5-and-5 mentality. I've spoke about it a few times here on the channel. So I wrote up here player for player. So I'm going to assume at this point that the WM, the players in red, are at least as good as the players in white, which is the team that we are focusing on, and how we stop the team in red, if not better. So there's the challenge again, player for player. So if the red team can play WM and they've got this sort of box in midfield, there it is, right? And then it's that 5-and-5 approach, but those players individually are just worse than any of our guys or any of the white players here. It doesn't really matter what we talk about in terms of formations. You'll be okay. So let's assume that the red team are very good, as good as or better. So one of the things, one of the advantages of the WM is this 4 versus 3 idea in the middle of midfield. So for example, if we look at this right now, we can see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 reds. And against the typical 4-3-3, 4-1, 4-1, 4-2-3-1, 4-5-1, there's usually 3 central midfield players. So in terms of choice of pass, while we're giving up this sort of 1v1 here, there's one there, 1v1 there, 1v1 there, we are adding another option in the middle of midfield. So we can see here, there's 3 white players and there's 3 red players. So that often allows us to play out. And when we've seen teams play against us, most teams want to go and press us and all that stuff. Well, okay, off you go, right? And if they get this bit wrong, right, that would probably be safer than the other one. But if he chooses that player there, or she chooses that player there, then we've got an option just here. And this person's in a lot of room. So we would train our attacking centre mids to pick out or to find holes. So if this guy's here and marked, or this person's there and marked, this person could wander around. Maybe we get comfortable shifting the ball around the back. We come out this side, and now this player here has got the ball. And as long as if we fix that, or not fix it, but if we worked on that, it's really dangerous. So if you're playing against this now, so what do you do? So one of the ideas, look at the state of this. Got to make my soccer ball the right size. It's still not the right size technically, but anyway. One of the ideas would be to just go in that low block, right? The danger right now is that any players, if the red team get beyond 2, 3, or 4 of the white players in here, then it's dangerous because there's typically 5 attackers. So just here, there, dangerous right now for the white team, right? I mean, obviously dangerous. We can see the numbers up. We can see all the patterns that could happen. So the one option would be to let the CDMs have the ball and just see what they've got. So just go into this sort of low block mentality, right? So just let them have it. You can mark the 2 attacking centre mids and then leave this one just floating. So you end up with a 3v2 here, but just let them have it. Are they hurting you right now? Probably not. They're in their own half, right? It might get to be slightly more of a challenge the higher up the field they might get. But if it's a low block all around, we would expect the team to look something like this, right? And okay, well, go ahead. There's your 5. Try and beat our 3 there, and then our 3 here, and then our 4, and that could be a way to do it. Most teams don't like the idea of that little low block option, but it could. I'm still fascinated with this, but it still could be useful. Just to make sure that you've covered the 5 that are in the attacking space. And right now, if we look at that, there's an extra player or 2, right? Again, it takes a little shifting, but there's a 1v1. Let's just imagine the ball goes from there to there. There's a 1v1. Need a little protection. Here is central defender. Okay, this guy's open. This guy slides over. This guy drops in. Whatever it might be, right? We've got enough players on the scene to take care of their 5, and we can see it just there. So a low block could be an option. The other potential is that if we want to find a way that we press a little bit and you squeeze, so there's the centre forward. There's the right midfield player. And we just said, a minute ago, let's go to centre back, 3 centre mids. Okay. We had said, let's get these guys organised a little better. There we go. There's our 3 centre mids. We'd said low block, let the 2 CDMs have it. Well, I think one of the options could be that the centre forward is responsible for doing a little work if you want to go press, right? So the question would be to ignore the 3 defenders overall, but just make sure that the 2 CDMs can't get the ball. So this guy, centre forward now, is responsible for one of them, and one of the midfield players is responsible for the other. So there we go. There we're matched up, and we've still got an extra player, right? Matched up there, 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 matched up there. Got an extra player. One thing that is a big concern for teams that we've seen that we've played against is that if the centre forward doesn't do that job, right, and he just wants to get in here or be around this player or go hunting the ball, our coaches always talk about pressing from the front, and they end up too high up the field and they get beat. Well, if that guy is now open, well, these 2 are marked, well, that's a problem, because someone's got to go and engage him. So the big thing we see, or we've seen from other teams, is that the 2 centre backs, as this thing progresses, they don't want to be 1v1. We are in a WM. That's the risk we take, and they've been trained that way. But typically we're playing 4 at the back. The 2 centre backs don't want to be 1v1. Absolutely not. So this guy, centre mid, jumps up, presses on that guy because the centre forward's doing this, whatever he's doing here or she's doing there, right? Well, that's a problem. Centre back in there, other centre back in there, and now you're 1v1 all across the back. So most teams don't like that because, especially this one here, it takes a lot of bravery for a centre back to be comfortable to be 1v1. Now, if they're ready for it and train for it, great. And if these players understand, how they can help and those types of parameters, then fine. But in the middle of the game, when they wanted to have a partner, I'm going to go press on this guy, and you just cover me. The normal way of defending, not normal way, but the traditional 2 centre half relationship. All of a sudden they're there. Oh, I don't like this. They'll start calling players, right? Come and help me. So to fix that again, could be that the centre back can be that just a centre back, and this guy can just be that CDM and be okay. But the centre forward is the one that comes in and makes up that number just there. It could also be that you choose this one, right? It could be that this player is really good at just finding that midpoint maybe, and you're blocking off that passing lane, and then you're saying to him, okay, or her, there you go in there if you can, but we've still got this extra play at the back. So if you've got super intelligent wide players, that's also an option. But ultimately, I'd see it as being the low block, or help from a centre forward, or preparing your centre back to be 1v1 at times. And again, it depends on the score. It depends on whether you want to push them, whether you want to press them, how high up the field you want to win it. Because truthfully, WM doesn't mean anything if all of a sudden everyone sat on the edge of the 18-yard box. It's still going to end up looking like probably a 4-4-2 or something, or a 4-5-1. So, sort of ideas for that. But again, I always think about the advantage of a WM or the 3-4-3 box is this extra central midfield play, and that's the focus of that. Well, and the other team wants to expose that, or then try and take that away, either with a centre forward dropping in, a wide player cutting off that pass. That's hard to do, I think, in the middle of the game, or just get your centre back comfortable being 1v1 at some point, that kind of thing. So the other thing is I wrote on the ball, in terms of, well, what happens if? So we played against a team last year who I think were really good at this. And it caused us the most trouble, I think, in terms of the formation that we were playing in. And that is that and I would do this too if I was playing against 3 at the back, regardless of what else is going on. They posted a really good player, just posted might be the wrong word, but just stuck him there. And they didn't ask him to do much else. That was it. So we would play, whatever happened. We're the red team, of course. Centre back, centre forward might be here. We'd try and play. We'd get through the 1 or 2. Yeah, and they would just play, and they would try and find a way that at some point, if the ball broke down, let's say there's a ball in here, bad pass there, and then we, as being the white team, now win it. The first choice of option was that guy there every single time, immediately, and he was already in that position, so he didn't come in here and try and help. Right, he just stood out there. Now, in the general scheme of things, our left-sided centre back at some point might look like that. So that causes some problems actually. Again, it wasn't this side. It was that side every single time. So they knew in the middle of the field, if this thing broke down, we can see a 4v3 right there, right? 4 reds, 3 white players. They knew immediately the choice of pass was that guy there, and he was good. So all of a sudden that just stretched us, because now it's a scramble. He's got to get out, he's got to get back, and it causes some trouble, honestly. But they were well trained by a good coach, and he was good, such that, again, if it broke down, and it does inevitably at some point, right? It was a little bit risky for them, right? Because they're leaving him out here, but we still had plenty of chances to create, and we did. But if it broke down, first choice of pass, not left. We're not trying to play a little keep away in here. First pass, straight out to this guy, and then all of a sudden it's a bit of a foot race. And we at times looked really stretched and struggled a bit. It didn't lead to a goal, but with a little bit of a better finishing, maybe a little better delivery, maybe it would have done. So that's what I would do against WM in terms of the attacking side of things, is just expose these areas. I mean, there could always be help from these players. It could always look like a 5 at the back. We see the Premier League teams do that. 5-3-2 kind of situation, right? There's 5 at the back, there's 3, and there's 2 centre forwards. We've seen teams do that. Just play on the counter, but the WM is typically more of just 3 at the back. And if we can get help along the way from these players, and they're expected to trot back in and come and help a little bit, then great. Well, what enables that to happen is, of course, these two, and we train players on this. This is a delaying game. Don't dive in. Don't try and win it. Slow the thing down, and then we can just trot back and be back in position. So, but again, those quick counters, those win it, get it to that guy, very, very good. Causes a big problem. And if it happens again this year, I don't know. Maybe we counteract that by just, well, first of all, recognizing that as quickly as we can, and maybe we start to shift over a little faster, that kind of thing, block off a pass or something. But anyway, I digress, getting a little too detailed. But I hope that helps. So again, counteracting the 3-4-3 box / WM, player for player, presuming that you are as good as or they are a little better than you, so it's going to be a challenge. The formation is now a challenge. What do you do to defend against it? Stop the extra player in middle of the field, either with a centre forward, or be brave with your centre backs, or wide players cutting off that pass into the middle of the field. Again, that's where the advantage lies. That's different with the WM. Those 2 extra attacking centre mids. Delay the game, make it a slow game. Low press, as everyone says, everyone drops in, fine. And then on the ball, choice of pass, stick a high, wide player who's really good, and make it really uncomfortable with that first choice of pass. That now this is looking like a dangerous counter attack every single time. So anyway, hope that helps. Good fun. I kind of wing that. Hope it helps everybody. And yeah, see you next time. Cheers.